back. We're here for another episode of Exodus, and we figured out how my Tommy gun works in the game, so I'm really excited for this one. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Before we hop into all the action and everything, though, I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their characters. And we'll go top left, which I guess is me. So I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things I do, most of which is tabletop related. You can find all my stuff at my Linktree, which is right there. And then I play Niklaus Sebastian Adama, which is more commonly abbreviated now to either Nick or Klaus, depending on which version is active. So there's sort of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's type character. One of the substances in the game kind of they experimented with that, and it created this sort of alter ego. Anyways, they're a villain. Both sides are a villain, so it's just different flavors. They're just not the villain of the game, so it's a lot of fun. Before I pass it on, just
fun
mention
for
sponsors
who
real
exactly? All right, go
Everybody should have fun with it. It's great. So sponsors, we've got Fundamental RPG and Intrepid. You can find both of those at coffee.com/raven/shop, just like it says in the bottom left-hand corner. Just add /shop to the end of that. Also, check out my Twitter at The Raven. I'm giving away a copy of Fundamental RPG 2nd Edition, which just dropped a couple days ago. So a digital copy of that. Giving that away Friday. So the giveaway ends Thursday night, and then I'll announce the winner on Friday. There's also an Instagram version, so if Twitter's not your thing, you can go to @TheRavenEvermore, and there's an Instagram version over there as well. So go check that out. And then Intrepid is adventuring gear for IRL. So if you like outdoor athletic or casual wear with a tabletop theme, go check that out. It's a lot of cool stuff. All that out of the way, we'll move on, and we don't have a camera box right now for Riley, but Riley, tell us a little bit about yourself and Sid.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm a fiber artist. I do things like knitwear design, crochet design, as well as punch needle art and spinning fiber into yarn. I play Sid. Sid is just fun, quiet little murder child, I guess. Gives that energy. So,
Yeah.
Sid is Niklaus's ward/assistant who came from the surface with Niklaus at the distress call that Anastasia sent out. So, yeah.
Awesome. Next we've got Rowan. Tell us a little bit about Pepper Ann and yourself.
Rowan, that's me. Hi, I'm Rowan North. I'm a freelance illustrator and art educator, and you can find my stuff at rowannorthillustrations.org. I do a bit of everything and then some. Currently, pre-orders for my super shiny, duochrome color shifty palette for spring is still going on. And I will probably be releasing some homemade paper here pretty darn soon. So keep an eye out for that. So yeah, I will post that in chat in a second. I play Pepper Ann McGillicuddy. Pepper is a special child. Lived a very sheltered life growing up in Exodus, and because of that, she kind of lives in this half fantasy escapism type world and half in reality. She has 2 doggos named Artemis and Hearn, both named after the gods of the hunt. And yeah, that's me.
All right, and then next we've got Yaz. Tell us a little bit about Bambi and yourself.
My name is Yaz. I play Bambi Darling. Exodus's resident starlet harlot, who is kind of more of the washed up starlet of a she's not old, But she feels like she's fallen out of her prime, and she has been replaced by the newest hottest thing in Exodus, who is now giving them shelter, and she hates it. Baby's also not quite all the way there. She's a little woo. And yes, Bambi, for myself, I'm a illustrator and visual storyteller. I have an inordinate amount of projects going on right now. So I'm just gonna send you my website link. You can find me at any of these places. And yeah, if you like art, check it out. That's it.
Awesome. And then last but not least, V, tell us a little bit about yourself and this really cool game that you've put together, and then take it away.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I am a traditional artist. I work primarily in watercolor and pencil sketch, as well as some digital art as well. And if you'd like to take a look at any of my work, you can certainly do so. I have an art Twitter, which is where I've been posting a lot of my most recent stuff, which is at Pepero Draws, and that's Pepero like the candy. I've just been recently posting some anime-related characters there. So if you like My Hero Academia, for example, I'm also working on Jujutsu Kaisen piece as well, and I've also got some OC stuff up there, and one of them is a new character that I worked on for some Animus backstories. So if you keep up with Animus and you like that world, there's some stuff up there for that as well. But yeah, this is Exodus. Welcome to Exodus. This is a system that I foolishly took on as my first time GMing. So it's a completely home-built system, a little bit janky here and there, but we make it work. We always make it work. It's based on a game called BioShock, if you're familiar with that. One of my all-time favorite games. It's the first-person shooter that I ever played. And if you're familiar with the game, there's a little section at the very beginning where it shows you how to hack security bots. And the first time I ever played it by myself, I hacked a security bot and turned around, and it was right there in my field of view, and it startled me and I screamed. And ever since then, I've been totally in love with the game. So I knew that if we were going to play a game on Raven's channel, it had to be BioShock, because it's my absolute favorite. But yeah, so in this world, we have our party, who, as Riley mentioned, it's made up of some of our friends who have already been in Exodus for a while, and then Niklaus, or Klaus, and Sydney having intercepted a radio call made by Anastasia Petrova, who is a former nurse. So she is kicking around Exodus and trying to find anybody who will intercept this radio message that she's putting out for help. They'd like to get out of there, leave Exodus behind, never think about it ever again. And these lucky two were the ones who intercepted that message. So in our season so far, we've been trying to make our way through the city. And as Yaz said, we are ending up now with the crew kind of chilling with Vixen, who is a longtime rival of Bambi Darling. Kind of came into the scene and fucked up whatever Bambi had created for herself here. And that's where we left off. So you guys are currently in the lounge where Vixen used to sing. All of the furniture is kind of pushed up against the walls. There's a large open space in the center of the floor. You've got a bar set up all the way to the left-hand side of the room, which Vixen is now incapacitated, I guess is the easiest way to say. Behind that bar now, as Klaus injected her with a syringe of morphine during their little standoff outside the lounge. Other than that, there's like a little stage area with some heavy draped curtains. And there are two doors, one on either side of the lounge on the far back wall, on both sides of the stage area. So yeah, that's where we pick up. Is there anything that you would like to do right off the bat, or?
Vixen's out, right?
Vixen is succumb to the contents of an entire syringe of morphine, so she is down for the count for the moment.
Okay. Does Bambi know anything about this lounge, other than it's Vixen's and she hates it?
Has she ever been inside it?
I imagine maybe before Vixen was hot shit.
Yeah, that is totally up to yourself. If you think that Bambi would have been here before, then absolutely, we can roll with that.
Okay. Bambi's gonna go to Vixen, and kind of like give her a little bit of a nudge, like a "Are you really out?" kind of nudge, and deliberate for a moment about what a bitch she wants to be, and then she kind of like is like, fuck it, we're safe right now and it's fine. I can brutally maim her later. It's okay. I'm not gonna give up our safety for how angry I am, but I'm also feeling pretty all right. And she is instead going to go and poke around behind stage. She wants to see if the dressing room is still like how it used to be. And if there's anything in the dressing room.
All right, so which door do you go to first, the left-hand side or the right-hand side?
She's gonna go to the right-hand side.
The right-hand side. So you make your way back there to the right-hand side door, and you open it up. And at first the door is a little stiff. It's a little bit difficult to push through, but you use your shoulder and kind of push the door in. Once you're in there, you see that you are in fact in what used to be the dressing room. So there are like vanities and things like that. Like the old-timey kind of looking ones. So those cover kind of like the back wall type deal. And then just, some very typical theater backroom layout. The only thing that I have to go off of is when I was in high school and we went into the Arts and Culture Center and performed, I think it was Les Mis on stage. So that's the only dressing room that comes to mind. All I see is like a wall of mirrors with those bulbs around them, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of deal. You do see immediately right off the bat that there is a hole in the wall on the right-hand side, just back from where the door opens, which is currently boarded up. There, some nice, decent fortification there. It doesn't look like it's impossible to get through it. It just looks like there's been no use to go in there, so it's boarded up for safety's sake. But yeah, that's what you see of the dressing room upon first glance.
Is it still populated by clothing and costumes and things, or has it been sort of pulled apart?
I'd say there's a decent bit of clothing back there. Whether it is all in one piece or a little raggedy is uncertain. Upon first glance, you'll have to take a look through it if you really want to find something. But yeah, it seems like there's some stuff there.
All right, so Bambi's gonna put that thought on hold, and she wants to go and seek out if the sound setup is the same as her lounge. Like, is it a gramophone? Is it like more like a radio? Like, she's just she's on a mission, but she needs to make sure all of her pieces are together.
All right, so you go looking for that. We'll come back to you in just a second. The rest of you out in the main studio, what are you up to?
I have a question.
Sure.
For a friend.
Okay.
My friend wants to know if Sharpies are a thing in this world, and can Klaus find one?
It's a good question. When did
or have one.
Sharpies?
Let's take a look.
Let's see. 1964. So just a little after your time. We're not quite in 64
What about
yet.
permanent markers, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, like any kind of marker. Or
Can you
or
not draw a
maybe-
mustache on
I'm
Vixen?
I'm
Or
not going to draw a mustache.
can you not
It's-
draw
Or
like a
a
giant
penis.
penis on the
Yeah.
side of your cheek?
Not gonna be that either.
The permanent marker was invented in 1952. So I am sure you could find at least a pen or something of that kind around the
Yay.
bar.
I would like to take that. Or lipstick if there happens to be, any lying around or something like that.
Oh no.
Okay,
And,
let's do it this way. What would you prefer to find?
I'm happy with either, really. Whatever
Do the
makes more
search
sense.
check thing. Do a search check.
Yeah, you can use investigation if
Okay.
if there's one or the other that you would prefer to have.
I really don't. Marker, I guess, is what I prefer, but I'd be totally fine with lipstick. Nat 20, so
You find so
So
many
glad.
permanent markers in like a tub under the bar that it's
Oh, are they
kind of
different
like
colors?
concerning. Yes. It's
Yes.
also very concerning because what would a bar need with this many permanent markers? But
Obviously,
you don't really.
autographs. Autographs.
Yeah.
It's fixing
Right.
autographing.
Klaus is still at the wheel right now, so he doesn't care. He's just happy there's tons of colors. So what he's gonna do is go over to the passed out Vixen, and just like on her forehead, write out and multicolor like I heart darling, and then like Bambi fan, like Bambi on the right cheek and fan on the left cheek.
Jesus Christ.
Make it look like like people paint their faces to go to like sporting events and things like that. Make it look
Yeah.
like that, but kind of cutesy.
Jesus Christ. Oh, and can I just say, of all the things to roll a nat 20 on, it had to be just some stupid shit. Like,
I know, right?
this couldn't have been
That's
like
our
a
luck.
combat roll or something.
No.
Something important. Of course not. You find a humongous bin of permanent markers.
And it's so worth it. I could roll
Yes.
a nat 1 on my next dodge check, and I'm still gonna be like, worth it.
All right. Well, you
Just
certainly do.
sitting
So
fucking pretty.
Yep. I was saying in Zoom chat, I was gonna play Nick tonight. That was totally my intention. But then I rolled resistance and I rolled a 2, so I was like, oh, guess we're Klaus tonight. The
well, that
dice were
being
like,
said,
nope.
over the last little while, Klaus has been around a whole lot. So is that something that's typical for Nick? Like how, in terms of stamina of the body with dealing with Klaus, like how comfortable would he be, or what strength of resistance does his body have? Will he continue to be okay as Klaus, or do you think he'll get more and more tired as time goes on?
I think he's fine as Klaus because it's more of a mental thing than like a physical strain.
Okay.
But Klaus does tend to do things that are more physically risky.
Yes.
So I think that's where a lot of the danger comes into play. And also,
Yeah.
Nick doesn't do these types of things, so I'm sure there's muscles that Nick didn't even know he had that are screaming.
Klaus takes a turn, and then the next day, when Nick is just out and like shopping or something, he's like, damn, like I'm so sore today. What did this motherfucker do?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god. Yeah, that being said, if you would like to roll resistance regularly, you can certainly do so.
Okay.
And we can see how long Klaus sticks around. Or you can just remain Klaus the time. It doesn't really matter to me. Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
I'm good either way. I like both of them. They're fun to play.
We'll get you to roll resistance at like the most inopportune times for the sake of the haha.
Fuck yes.
Yes, I'm here for it. I love
Awesome. All right, so that's Klaus. What about the rest of you seeing him do this? So he finds this humongous bin of multicolored permanent markers. You know, I can just imagine him hauling out this tub and like slamming it down on the bar top. And he's rifling through all the different colors to find the ones that he wants, and then he starts writing on Vixen's face. I'm interested to know, Sid, what do you do? What's your first thought?
So, player loves this chaotic energy.
Mhm.
Is not sure. Sid is very put off because they're not used to seeing Niklaus's body be behaving as such.
Valid, yeah.
So they're a little bit just wary. She's just kind of like eyes Klaus and then goes to search some of the room, not like with Bambi, but like around the room to just kind of search for things.
Okay. Was there anything in particular you were looking for, or just kind of nosing around?
Sid wants one of those sweet masks.
Like what kind of masks?
Like a rabbit.
The splicer
Oh,
ones.
Mwah, chef kiss. Sid has taste. I knew I kept that girl around for a reason. Yeah, you can go ahead and roll investigation if you'd like. Pepper, Anastasia is kind of standing there. She looks cautious. She's standing with you. You know, her eyes kind of dart around the room, as if at any moment, like a splicer could jump through the wall and start attacking. She seems, other than that, despite being cautious, she seems to feel safe enough that, you know, some of that tension of being out in the open is gone now. But she's sticking close to you. What are you doing?
So, she had a little bit to drink, but not nearly enough to be properly,
Yes.
like, even buzzed. But she just looks over at Anastasia and and says, "Dogs can smell fear."
Anastasia just kind of looks down at the dogs and then just like nods a little bit.
Yeah. Hearn wags his tail a little. Very long, fluffy tail.
Anastasia probably just like leans a little bit to be able to give him a little scratch.
Yeah. It's like, so they know that you're nervous. Do you think we're not safe here?
It's not that I don't feel entirely safe. It's just...
It's just that we're sitting still.
That, and I don't really know what Bambi might do, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, she's alive. So,
For now, yes.
but I think it's funny that a raccoon would try to take on like a panther, but I mean, weird things have happened.
We're going straight to Trash Panda for Bambi, are we?
Fuck
You can't
yeah!
stop. You can't stop the stream.
You really can't. It's everywhere. Permeates everything.
Well, she referred to her as a possum before, so
You know, my next evolution is gonna be Badger.
mushroom. So
Stuck in my head now. Thanks.
you're very welcome. I regret nothing. So yeah, she's like, she's alive, but also I don't know if I'd be more worried about Vixen killing Bambi than I would of Bambi killing Vixen now that I've met her.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong, so I suppose. And she just kind of gives you like a half-hearted smile.
Are we going to wait here until she wakes up?
Probably. I mean, we should probably stay and find out what information that she knows. And seeing as someone decided to put her under the influence of something, that's going to take a little bit longer than I had initially thought that it might.
Do we have adrenaline?
You're just gonna cocktail her into oblivion.
I was gonna say, are you trying to kill this woman? Like, morphine,
No.
booze, and then adrenaline.
Mhm. Yeah,
I would not
Anastasia's
want
like...
that hangover.
Anastasia's like, maybe not.
Absolutely not. It's like, but you said that there could be more friends out there. The ally friends that we can find, maybe?
I don't know if it's a good idea to leave and then come back. We should probably stay here while it's still safe. Just until we can, I don't know, ask her some questions, see what kind of things that she might know. It seems to be, guarded enough here that...
But do you think she knows we're here?
I mean,
Obviously,
it's-
she's referring to Penelope, but
Yeah, it's entirely possible. But I
Then-
mean,
if she knows, then I don't know how safe it is.
well, by that logic, she'll know wherever we go anyway. So, what makes us any less safe here than out in the halls where she can send only God knows what to try and kill us there?
I guess I also don't like sitting still.
Well, I've
Um,
got a solution for that.
Anastasia kind of looks to you guys, Sid and Klaus. Are you listening into this conversation? Like, they're not. Anastasia's not trying to be quiet about it, so it's just at regular volume. Do you have any opinion, or are you ignoring the conversation?
Yeah, Klaus is too busy adding, like, cat whiskers onto the side of Vixen's face.
This poor woman is gonna wake up and be like, "What is happening?"
In rainbow colors.
After Sid is unable to find like a mask that what she was looking for, she if she still has an available syringe and vial, wants to take a blood sample from Vixen.
I just saw that in Zoom chat. Sorry, I didn't see. Yes, she's not gonna stop you, so you can certainly do that.
Awesome. But Sid will just be like, don't give her anything else.
Also, Riley, why are you in the chat talking about Dobby? Stop that.
On what?
Things that are not Dobby. Just come on. Yeah, so, all right. So you guys are kind of occupied then.
Just
But yeah, Sid
Doing
Sid
their own
says-
thing.
Sid says, don't do that, because that would be bad. All right, so Bambi, you were looking for a specific setup. I have to tell you, I know nothing about like old timey audio setups. I don't know what specifically you're looking for. So instead of me describing what's there, I'll ask you what you are looking for, and then you can roll for it.
Ideally, Bambi is looking for the 1960s equivalent of a record player and sound system. And some unbroken records that might be a bit of a bop.
I just realized it would probably be wow, I'm tripping over my words here. It would probably be tube sound equipment, which would sound so good.
Nerd.
Love that.
Yeah, I am.
Love that. All right, yeah, you can go ahead and roll investigation for me, and we'll see what you can find.
$22.
22. So yeah, you're able to find like a record player and a couple of old records as well. Some of them you find are a little bit busted up, a little bit broken, but you managed to find a couple that are all in one piece. And luck of the draw, it does seem that the record player functions.
Yeah. So Bambi, just to get everybody in the mood, is gonna pop one of those records on.
In what kind of mood?
But the song "In the Mood" by Glenn Miller starts to play.
Yay! I love that song. It's one of my favorites.
And Bambi's gonna do, like the Charleston a little bit and sashay back to the bar, pour herself another shot, turn to Pepper and be like, "Pepper, you wanted to know about nightlife here, right?" And she puts her hand out and she's like, "If you'd like, come with me and I'll give you a little bit of a taste of what it could be like."
She looks at your hand and looks at your face and looks at your hand and looks at your face and then high fives it.
Bambi just sort of stops and is like, "Oh, darling, come on." And she's going to, she goes to like hook your arm, but then remembers that you don't like being touched. And she just like plays it off as like another like little dance thing. And she's like, "Well, follow me then. Come on. All of the rest of you have to stay right here. Right here. We'll be back."
Klaus just looks over his shoulders like, "I have markers. It's great. Good."
"That's fine, darling." And then leads
No,
Pepper.
you're darling.
Leads Pepper back to the dressing room. Where she then, like once the doors close, she starts rifling through the costumes. And she looks back at Pepper. She's like, "What's your favorite color?"
Red's good.
"Ooh, here's a slinky red number that looks like it would fit you." And she pulls this dress off.
You asked about my favorite color, not my favorite number.
Bambi just glosses right over it, and she puts the dress in your hands. And there's like, like one of the like the rice paper privacy walls. She's like, "Go get changed." And she's going to then look around for any kind of makeup that might be left.
Changed into who?
Into this dress. God.
Oh. Okay.
Put the dress on.
Okay. So she goes behind the screen. She's absolutely so confused about what's going on.
It'll be fine, I promise. Is Bambi able to find like leftover makeups or lipsticks or anything like that that might not be Vixen's, or it's totally fine if it is Vixen's.
I feel like this is that scene in The Breakfast Club where you put a weirdo in a dress.
I mean,
I'm kidding. Bambi was blinded on the way in. I can't remember. Was she blind for a lot of the outside discussion as well, or was that when she went inside?
That was it. Happened like it triggered once she walked in, and
Right.
she was slowly getting better when we ended last session.
Yeah. So when you confronted Vixen out in front of the lounge, you would have seen that despite looking a little worse for wear, she appeared to be wearing makeup. Might not have been as well done as perhaps it once might have been with the appropriate amount of time and security. But yes, there is makeup in the drawers and things in the back section. And it's pretty easy to guess that this is what Vixen's been using.
All right, well, Bambi's gonna help herself to it.
Yeah.
And she will do her own makeup while Pepper Ann is getting dressed, which does include using alcohol and a corner of her dress to wipe the blood and viscera off of her face.
All right. Okay, so you guys are busy in the dressing rooms then. I don't think there's anything that Anastasia in particular wants to accomplish while she's waiting for Vixen to wake up. She's just kind of poking around herself around the room. Not looking for anything in particular. She's just making sure that everything is secure and things like that. Is there anything else that you guys out in the main room wanted to do before we let Bambi and Pepper do the thing? Or we kind of pass a little bit of time as we wait for Vixen?
I think by this time Klaus is done, so he's just gonna like put all the markers back in the bucket and then just stick it back behind the bar and go pour himself a drink.
Yeah, absolutely. You can pick from the number of 1/2 to 3/4 empty bottles that are there, some glasses behind that haven't been broken up.
I think actually he'll just grab a bottle of scotch and just take it with him.
Sure.
Why
Anything
bother
else
with
for
a
Sid?
glass?
Yeah, really though. Anything else for Sid while she's waiting?
Nope.
No? All right, and yeah, Vixen is unable to do anything. So we'll toss it back to Bambi and Pepper. What are you guys up to?
Well, I can't speak for Pepper, but Bambi cleans up the little bit of makeup that she had managed before this whole affair had started. Cleans herself up, changes her dress into something black with fringe on it. And she starts poking through the rest of the records that she found to find the perfect song for them. And while
So here's a little question for you then.
Yes.
With Mira in mind, because obviously Vixen is our beloved Mira. What kind of build does Bambi have in comparison to Vixen? Because these are her clothes that you're rifling through. So how are they fitting? What is Bambi like in comparison to Vixen?
Bambi is probably an inch or two shorter, and she is like a waif, like the teeniest, tiniest adult human. So there is a chance that either it fits very, very well or is just a little bit loose in some areas because Bambi is not as well endowed up top.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a little bit better endowment in her hips. But that's about it. That could be the only
So all you
Only-
need to do is stuff it with tissue paper, call it good.
Yeah, all the tissues.
Yeah, so in that case, anything that you try on is probably going to be a little more snug in the hip area, a little looser in the bust area, I would say. But other than that, fits pretty well.
Sweet. Beats the white gown she was wearing earlier.
Yes. This one doesn't have any blood or guts on it, so that's a step up.
Hey, Pepper, are you
A little
able
dusty, maybe.
to get dressed? Okay,
To breast? What?
to get dressed.
Oh. I actually legit heard to breast, okay? And I'm like oh.
Get your mind out of the gutter. There's not enough room in here.
Well, I was actually thinking chicken breast, and I was really confused, but that's totally fine. And then also stuffing at the bra. Anyways, wow, tangent, ADHD, go burr. So Pepper goes, I mean, I guess it's a little revealing, I think.
We'll step out. Let's see it.
So, she steps out. She still has her hair up in in like the bun that she's been wearing pretty much this whole time. Although she has taken off the pith helmet. And yeah, I imagine that it's like the strappy evening gown, the full like length, maybe a slit up the side or something. And then like that V neck drop. And she is just kind of like,
Bambi's like, you look lovely. Absolutely wonderful. Now, come take a seat and let me doll you up.
oh, is that what dolling means? I've been trying to figure out this whole time.
Yes. Well, come sit down.
Okay. And she sits down.
Bambi picks up a hairbrush and looks at Pepper, looks down at the hairbrush and looks back at Pepper, and she's like, I am and was going to brush your hair, but I know that you don't particularly like being touched, so you can brush it yourself if you'd like.
I think hair's okay.
All right. Well,
Um,
pull your hair tie out at least, so I don't hurt you too bad.
I haven't pulled out my hair tie and I don't know how long.
Oh no.
Do you know those hair ties or those elastics, those rubber bands that are just too old? So they
Yes.
just snap?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's legit what happens, where she just like tugs on it and goes, "Pow!" and her hair just kind of it sits there in this like rat's nest there, and she's like, "Oh,
Bambi will take the time to like kind of undo that and sort of pull it out, and then she brushes her hair out. And there's not a lot that she can do, so she uses part of the rat's nest as volume to create like this classy downdo with her hair, and then painstakingly paints makeup on her face.
I haven't." Sometimes when Grandpa would let me go to the fancy parties, I got to wear makeup like maybe a couple times then, but it's been so long. It's been a while.
Well, now you get to look just as lovely as ever. And we're done. And she does like the whole, like, she finds the fan and like has it whipped out so Pepper can't see the mirror, and does like the whole like whoosha reveal. So Pepper could see herself.
Yeah, I assume Bambi does a good job. She knows her shit. So, Pepper's like, "Oh, I look really different."
You do. I mean, it's a good kind of different. You look great either way, but this is fun too. All right, you ready for the next thing?
What's the next thing?
I think there's a cat meowing at my door.
This time there is something behind you.
No, there's no. I don't think there's a cat in here.
There's
She's
just a door between you
meowing.
and what's behind you.
Yeah. But so she's found the music that she wanted to use. And she goes and puts she like sets it back a few tracks so they have enough time to set up. And sorry, I was looking for the song that I wanted. I couldn't find it.
No worries.
So she puts on the music, so this club is suddenly like has like not like super loud, but loud enough that those sitting inside could hear it. The lights go whoosh-chung and like flick on, and the stage is all spotlighted, and she comes back to Pepper, and she's like, just follow my lead. And she puts a fan in Pepper's hands, like one of the big ostrich feather fans.
Oh, she knows full well what an ostrich feather is. It's like, did you know that Grandpa has like a full-size ostrich in his living room? He said he hunted it himself in Africa, and it's really cool.
I don't know, but that's kind of cool. Are the feathers still on it?
Yeah.
Cool.
It would be a very ugly ostrich if it was picked bald, I think.
I think you're right, but I've never seen an ostrich before.
Well, if we ever make it to where my grandfather lived and where I lived for forever, then maybe you actually get to see what an ostrich looks like, or a lion, or because there's a lion head on the wall too, or a tiger. There's a big tiger in front of the fireplace, or a bear. There's a bear on the floor in front of the fireplace too.
Bambi's gonna like put a finger up and be like, all right, our song's coming up. And as the song cycles to the next one, You Give Love a Bad Name by Postmodern Jukebox plays, because we're not totally historically accurate in this game. And as like the song begins to build, Bambi leans over to Pepper. She's like, all right, I'm gonna go first, give it 4 seconds, and then follow me and repeat what I do. Except when I go to stage left, you're gonna go to stage right, and then we'll just swap, all right?
Okay, so
you're just gonna mirror what I do, but stay facing the audience.
Okay.
And so she gears up and she gives like this little wiggle with her fan, and she struts up the stage and does like the whole burlesque like routine to the song and all that, and drags Pepper through it every second of the way.
Pepper looks like a deer in the headlights.
If she freezes up on stage, Bambi gives her like a little bump and like wiggles her fan over her and stuff.
Oh, definitely. She's like, oh, just really struggling to keep up with whatever
Bambi
Bambi's
keeps
doing.
it pretty simple and does her best to like keep Pepper engaged in the music, and you can tell like Bambi trained a lot of the girls that had come through her lounge, and you kind of get to see that in the way that she's like prepping and not coercing, but like guiding Pepper across the stage and trying to create like as like less of a stressful situation as possible.
Yeah, and she relaxes somewhat and even starts smiling a little bit. She's still not fully like comfortable in her shoes. Like, this is so out of her ball game. It's not even funny. But but she does like try to be a little bit looser for her, and smiles a little bit.
Yay! And when the song finally begins to dwindle to an end, Bambi puts her hands up and she's like, all right, Pepper, it's time to bow. And then she does like this super like extravagant bow at the end of the song, and then looks at Pepper to make sure she bows too.
So Pepper looks at Bambi and then goes, oh, and she bends over and like the leftover fabric like opens up, doesn't leave much.
Bambi like sees this just as it's happening and just opens her fan. In like an attempt to protect her modesty. She's like, all right, stand up. All right, we're good.
Oh,
We're good.
okay.
Come on, let's go.
Klaus just assumes this is part of the act and is, set the bottle down and is just clapping. It's like, hey, this is a good job. It's entertaining.
And the silence left behind by the end of the song. Anastasia is very quiet for a moment and then just starts laughing. And it's very much different than the way she's interacted with you all up until this point. Like, it's a genuine laugh, and you can see that she really did enjoy it. But kind of when the stress of things is at its peak, and when you start laughing, it bubbles out of you.
Yeah, you just break.
Yep.
It's not so like over the top as that, but you can tell that that's kind of what's happening here. Mixture of her thinking that the girls were just funny, and enjoying their attempt to have some fun, but also that stress also pushing her kind of over the top a little bit more. But she's just laughing, and she laughs and laughs to the point where she has to like gasp breath in because she can't stop laughing long enough to actually breathe. And it only lasts a minute or two, but like by the end of it, she's like wiping her eyes.
That's great. Bambi enjoys it. She's like, yeah, job well done. Fuck you, Vixen.
Vixen cannot answer you.
When they get off of the stage, Bambi turns to Pepper and says, you did a really, really great job. You did awesome. It's your first time, and I'm really proud of you for doing it anyways, even though I know this isn't really your thing.
I know how to do the ballroom dances. I've never danced like that before, though.
That is called vaudeville burlesque. I mean, we added a little extra vaudeville to make up for.
So vaudeville, like vodka.
No, Bambi's like ready to launch into a historical like discussion of what vaudeville means. But for the sake of gameplay, let's keep it real quick. Vaudeville is the comedy end of burlesque. So it's kind of like it's more cute and funny than it was like sexy.
Oh, okay. So okay. I think I get it. So the point is to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
Okay.
You're gonna be a little silly and cut back and be a little loose with it. I mean, In vaudeville, sometimes they still take their clothes off, but we didn't do that this time. She's like, they don't do it every time.
Did you used to take your clothes off?
Yes, it's the best part of any show.
Oh. Okay.
Just for juxtaposition's sake, Bambi, there's a little reminder in the back of your head that like Vixen probably didn't have to take her clothes off while she was performing.
Man, so like Bambi was totally into it, but then it like she chose to do that for herself, but then like with that thought, she's just like, fuck Vixen even more. Making me look like a slut more than I am.
Seeing her mood like change like immediately, Pepper just kind of goes, would you want to do it again?
And Bambi's like, a cat with like a feather toy. Yeah, of course.
That mood flip immediately.
Oh yeah, right, back and forth. Bambi's down to dance all night long, and she'll probably dance with Pepper as many times as she is into it.
Well,
while that's
yeah.
So while that conversation's happening, there's a noticeable shift from Klaus, and a groan from the audience, as because I rolled resistance again and got a higher roll, and Nick comes out, and he's just holding his head, going, "Oh, what the hell happened?" And then looks up to see, the stage and everything. He's like, I had a show?
It's probably be about the time Bambi and Pepper are getting back on stage to do the whole number again.
Perfect. And Nick looks down, sees the bottle of scotch, and just upends it.
Meanwhile, Anastasia is just like wiping tears from her eyes. It's like trying to breathe normally. And Sid, what do you think about this little show that's happened now?
Sid wishes that they still had their flamethrower.
Just to remind you, Sid now has a built-in flamethrower.
I know, I'm just joking. But Sid like, what the heck is happening? Because even though Niklaus did have Sid do questionable things, Sid had never been subjected to adult entertainment.
This is PG adult entertainment, mind you.
PG adult.
Sid still does not like it. Sid does not understand it.
That's fair.
It's always weird being the one like teenager in the room when all of the adults start laughing over something that they think is funny, but it's also like a little bit inappropriate. And you're like, wow, what a day to be 15 in a room full of adults.
That's about right.
Basically.
Yep.
Oh my.
Fair.
Doesn't understand just people, so it's like, okay.
How about them pork chops, hey Sid?
Oh my god, remind me to tell you a story about that later, V.
The how
About the
about
pork
them
chop.
pork chops?
Yeah, about the
Okay.
pork chop thing.
Actually,
All right.
if she has the stuff, which I don't know if she would, but she wants to run a little bit of tests on the blood that she's collected while everybody's distracted.
What kind of tests?
Basically comparing everybody's blood and seeing if there's anything more present in another. So she might not have like a microscope with her, so I doubt she has what she needs to figure out like just how much have people been ingesting?
Did you guys continue to bring any of your belongings? Because I know Sid and Nick kind of brought down their fair share of items and like things for doing research. How much of that has survived
So
up until now?
Sid left a lot at the first place that Anastasia brought them. But she did bring like a lot of the science equipment, maybe like a messenger bag's worth of just little bit of equipment.
All right. Let's say that, for example, you have a sort of litmus paper, we'll say. I imagine that Nick having to do, or let's throw this one to Raven actually.
Okay.
How does Klaus not really manifest, but how does he affect Nick's anatomy? Like how does he manifest based on what has changed with Nick? So for example, with the plasmid, say for example Sid's fire, she's able to produce that flame from her skin. So that's a visible change to the makeup of her DNA, right?
Yeah.
How does Nick kind of have that same thing? Like, is there any visual or physical signs aside from like the changes from Nick to Klaus? If that makes sense. Does it make sense?
Yeah, like are there any visible physiological differences between Nick and Klaus?
Yeah, or even not even necessarily visible, like internal, even.
I imagine Klaus being a little bit stronger, so maybe like muscle mass gets a little bit denser. Probably not like hulking out kind of a deal, but just just a little bit tougher. Like can take punches a little bit better. Can make melee attacks a little bit better. Not necessarily like mechanically, but just muscle mass just gets denser, a little more toned, I guess.
Now, I also believe we did talk a little bit about in the very, very early stages of our characters. I think we talked about how Klaus kind of came to be, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So that being said, considering Klaus or Niklaus is the only one topside that we know of who has really been in contact with any sort of substance from the Exodus crew, or the underground system. Would it be safe to assume that he would have developed tests to test his own differences? So perhaps even like blood content, how his blood, for example, changes between Niklaus and Klaus, or even just between a regular human being and himself. Would that be a fair assumption?
Probably, yeah, because his whole thing was like trying to use it in such a way that there weren't any side effects, and obviously failed. But
right.
But yeah.
All right.
I'd say you'd have
so
some samples
Sid.
And things.
Okay, Sid. In that case, what I will give you is this: you have a sort of litmus paper, but it tests for whatever it is in Klaus's blood specifically, or Niklaus as a whole, that is different from other human beings. So this sort of kind of litmus paper would have been used while Niklaus was trying to identify specifically how his DNA and how his blood changed after acquiring Klaus in comparison to a normal human being. So you might not have any microscopes or anything like that, but that component, whatever that component is in Klaus's blood or Niklaus's blood interacting with Klaus, you can search for that.
Okay. So Sid is going to put a little bit of everybody's blood in their own strips of litmus paper. But Sid also got one from like a full-on splicer, so that's also in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
All right, and remind me, did you get blood samples from everybody, or was it just specific people?
Okay, so
I
Pepper,
think everybody.
Bambi, Niklaus, Splicer, Vixen. I can't remember. I think Anastasia too. So yeah, everybody.
Everybody? Okay. I will get you to roll. Let's do an investigation roll.
Ooh, yay.
Trying to figure out what's on the go here.
What you do, kitty cat? Are you? I got that one.
Oh no.
Okay.
Fantastic. All that work.
Yeah.
Do you want to take that advantage, mate?
Yeah, if you want to use the, I forgot that was there.
Sure. Can I do that even though I've already rolled?
I guess it depends on if Yaz is cool giving up one of those advantages, because Yaz, you have two.
Yeah.
Oh, if they're
Yeah, take it, please.
Okay.
I didn't realize that it had been a specific character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just redeem my points there. I'm gonna take an advantage for myself.
All right, that works too.
Okay. Okay, that's 26.
Oh, much better. I was sitting here and I was like, can I, as a GM, pretend that it's not an hour?
You
I don't
can
want
do
you to have
whatever
to
you
deal
like.
with Technically, I am the god of this realm, so I suppose. Yeah, no, with the 26, that's perfect. So you are able to do your little litmus paper experiment. Is there a specific order that you would like to do so in? Whose blood are you testing first?
So first going to do the splicers.
All right. So you take the small vial of splicer blood, and you drop onto this little piece of paper that Niklaus has developed to show like the variations. And there's a color key that goes along with it as well. So it's like the, we'll say like the darker blue it is, the more of this compound is found, or like the more vibrant the blue. You drop the splicer blood onto it and it immediately lights up like a neon sign. Whatever this component is immediately reacts with the splicer blood. So that is definitely present.
Okay. And then she'll just do the rest in no particular order, but like be comparing them to how closely they match the splicer one, like color-wise, like how bright they get.
Okay. So I would say next we'll do Bambi. You take Bambi's blood and you drop a few little droplets on there, and it does light up quite a significant blue. It's not anywhere near the complete vibrancy of the splicers, but it is clearly a very vibrant type of blue. So what that means is that there is quite a large amount of this component found within Bambi's DNA. So Splicer, Pepper, Bambi, Anastasia. Who else did you say?
Niklaus and Vixen, and then
Oh, Vixen.
Sid had taken her blood before she started using Kane.
Okay.
As well.
All right. So then, so that's Splicer and Bambi. For Pepper, you find a decent amount of this compound as well. But like previous, the relationship from the Splicer to Pepper, that's kind of the same step down that you see between Pepper and Bambi. So Bambi's is that vibrant color. Pepper's is a little more desaturated, not as bright. And of course, this would make sense because she is able to use her dogs. This is a power that was available to her, and she's been using it. We know that she's been using it. So, that makes sense. After that, Vixen. You drop a few droplets of Vixen's blood on there. It doesn't react. You don't find anything there. The next with Anastasia, same thing, actually. You don't find any blue. Klaus, you drop me Klaus's blood on there. And you get kind of similar results to what Pepper's was. There's definitely a very large vibrancy to this DNA as it reacts with the litmus paper. And then you drop your own blood on there pre-exposure to Kane, and likewise, there's not any sort of reaction.
Okay, could I do some of my blood now that I've been exposed to Kane?
Sure.
Okay.
I won't get you to roll anything. We'll just do it all in one go. With your blood now, you take like a small, I'd say there's probably like knives or something behind the counter, or like bottle openers or some sort of tool. And you nick your finger and you squeeze a few little drops of blood onto the paper. And it does react, but the blue is like it's washed out. It's not as vibrant. It's definitely less than Pepper even, but it's not, clear the way Anastasia and Vixen are. So there's a little bit of blue there, but I mean, you even know yourself, you haven't used this plasmid very often. So it doesn't really color the paper that much. It's still definitely there. You can see it, but it's not too vibrant.
Sid will remember this.
Up in the top left corner. Just Sid will remember this. Yeah, perfect. So that's what you do. Does anybody see Sid doing this? Like, is there any attention drawn to this little experiment, or are you guys still kind of doing your own thing?
I mean, Bambi's busy.
Nick might notice, possibly. Depends on where is Sid doing this and how obvious is Sid being about it.
Sid, so am I right in seeing the room that like Vixen's kind of like fallen over the bar and is like asleep on the bar, or is she somewhere else?
She's slumped behind the bar, so she's not fully draped over the counter, but she's there behind the bar, yeah.
Okay, so Sid is just like sitting on the floor next to her passed out body, just like doing these experiments.
All right, so
Okay.
you're pretty well concealed by the bar top then.
Then yeah, Nick doesn't notice.
Okay. So if you guys don't want to do anything else in particular, is that about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, so we'll do a little bit of a time passing kind of deal. Amazing enough, it does take less time than anticipated for Vixen to come around. She starts to stir maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours after being injected with a syringe. And she's still very, very groggy at first, and she's not fit to have a proper full conversation or anything like that. But it is, quick. And around the 2 hour mark, she's blinking and looking around and kind of gets the gist of her surroundings, what's going on. And sees you guys kind of doing, and she moves her leg and kind of bumps whatever leftover science fair project Sid has on the floor. And she just looks down at it like, what the fuck? But yeah, it takes a little bit longer for her to really like shake it out of her and be able to stand up properly. And she does not immediately recognize that there's something wrong with her face. So now she's up and kind of looking at you guys. She's got all these markings on her face. Does anybody tell her?
Oh fuck no. Nick's doesn't really remember everything that just happened over the last little while. So Nick's just looking at this lady like kind of like glancing over at the rest of the party, just like is this normal kind of a expression on his face, but doesn't say anything.
How long did Pepper dance with Bambi for?
She only did like one more, I'd say 1 or 2 more, mostly to keep Bambi's mind off of the fact that she wants to murder the woman that's passed out over the counter.
Valid.
So every single time, like they're done with the dance, she checks like if she immediately goes dour like fucking Vixen, then another dance, I guess.
Bambi's pretty good at occupying herself when Pepper finally tires out, and I imagine that she's just sitting on the edge of the stage singing, like la da 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 da, doing her own thing, being mindless and not worrying about Vixen. But Vixen gets up, and Bambi like has the microphone in one hand and just like stops mid song and is just like points and goes. And like that one person laughing in an empty, like a quiet room, or like at a funeral. That's kind of how I imagine that.
Yeah.
That's all.
I would say that Anastasia probably didn't really notice what Klaus was doing to begin with. So it's not until Vixen fully shows her face that she realized what has happened. And her mouth kind of pops open slightly as she just kind of looks at Vixen like, oh my God, what has happened?
And she just looks like the biggest Bambi fan ever, with also cat whiskers.
She immediately looks at Niklaus. Like the only motherfucker in this room who probably did it is Klaus, so
Nick just looks back at Anastasia with a questioning look, like the thought in his head is like, did I do that? But he doesn't actually say that. He just kind of raises an eyebrow and looks confused.
not gonna lie, the first thing that popped into my head was the Steve Urkel voice.
Did I do that?
Yes.
God, I haven't seen that show since I was a child.
I know, same. Yeah, so you've just got Anastasia looking at you like she's questioning you and you're questioning her, and meanwhile Vixen's looking from person to person and she sees Bambi like laughing to kill herself. And she turns around and looks behind the bar where all of the bottles are set on shelves, at the like reflective surface there. And she turns around and she sees all of these colors on her face, and she doesn't react at first. It's kind of one of those really frightening silences where clearly the person has seen what has happened, but has just been so silent about it that you're not sure like if they're going to explode with rage or what's gonna happen. So she just stands there for a minute as she takes in this sight.
That internal debate of, am I going to commit murder right now, or am I going to be a normal person?
Yeah. But in this case, do I have to be a normal person? Because nothing is normal down here.
Fair.
And so she's kind of standing facing the wall. Bambi's laughing behind her. And we'll see what happens when we come back from a short break.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Right after these messages.
All right, we're gonna take a break. So go stretch your legs, hydrate, grab snacks, whatever you need to do, and then be back in 15 minutes because that's when we'll be right back for the conclusion of the Bambi decorations. It's gonna be great. We'll be right back. are back. We've been having too much fun over the last 15 minutes. But we're back. What is does Vixen explode? What happens?
Yeah. So, like we left off, Vixen is staring into her reflection along the back wall of the ball. The back wall of the bar.
I do that all the time.
Just switch words around. Yeah, she's standing there, very silent, very still, and she slowly turns around and looks to everybody, and just very quietly says, "Who did this?"
Bambi clears her name first. She's like, I've been up here all night. I don't know about that, but it's great. I'm glad to see you love me so much.
Nick looks at Vixen and goes, I just woke up in a audience seat holding a bottle of scotch, so I'm assuming I passed out.
Vixen's still looking between the rest of you. Pepper, you have this piercing gaze fall on you now.
Also, I just realized that might be really weird for Vixen, because I don't think she's ever met Nick.
Yeah.
But continue. Sorry.
Pepper's like, what?
Well, does
I'm
Nick
assuming she
remember
took off the
anything?
dress at some point here. And
What
it's
was
back
that,
to her
Harley?
clothes. She's still wearing makeup, but
Is Pepper in her underwear right now?
no.
Pepper didn't get undressed. Bambi didn't either. They just had a conversation about it.
Okay. I was just
No,
'cause
Pepper's
not in the dress, and I was like, what?
She would change back to her normal clothes. Like, she's not
Oh.
comfortable just sitting in that dress forever.
She just stripped down and tossed the dress to the side.
No, there's a fucking changing room.
Well, I just
Although she's still wearing Vixen's makeup, so take that
She's
as
standing
well.
there in her undies.
No.
on the
No, but what I was asking was if Niklaus recalls or even remembers meeting Vixen.
I don't think so. So I think I've decided that sometimes Nick remembers what happens, and then sometimes he doesn't. And I think this is one of those, he has no idea how he got here or what's been going on, because Klaus has been behind the wheel for quite a while.
So as you guys are kind of all en masse just denying having done anything, or in Niklaus's situation, not remembering having done anything.
Technically, nobody in the room currently did this.
That is true. As Vixen just kind of stands there, you see her jaw tighten very clearly, and then she exhales through her nose.
Pepper, I guess, sees like these signs of anger, and she kind of gets this look like, I don't think any of you have gotten really angry, at least not in her general direction before. She's like, I'm really sorry. Don't be mad.
Vixen looks at you again and she's like, so you did this?
She looks at everyone else.
Bambi pipes up and
She's
like
like,
folds
"Would
her
you
arms across.
Would you be less mad if I did?
Oh. Bambi's not going to let Vixen respond to that. She's like, Pepper was dancing with me the whole night. For the entire duration that you were out until 30 minutes ago. And then she's been sitting right there. I've had my eyes on her all night long.
In response to that, Vixen just kind of pastes this smile on her face. And she's like, yes, because you're the first person that I would trust.
Bambi gives her a smile that has absolutely no humor in it. It looks more like a grimace, a very pretty grimace.
It takes her another minute, just breathing through her nose, until she finally lets the tension go from her body enough that she doesn't shake with anger. And she looks back to you, Bambi, and she just says, like, unlike you, I know how to play nice. So this is all in good jest. It's fine.
Bambi's smile goes from like toothy to tight-lipped, and she just flutters her eyelashes at her like, I have no idea what you mean. Intentionally, of course.
Has Vixen figured out this is permanent marker yet?
No, of course not. Let's see if she does. Hold on. So that's a 28. She is able to kind of just look at what's in front of her at the bar area. Did Klaus put the tub back, or is it still on top of the bar?
No, he put it back.
Okay, she kind of turns to look at her reflection again and notices that the bin is like, the corner of the bin is sticking out a little bit from the shelf. And so she looks down at the bin and she looks back up, and that flame is just in her eyes again. So she went from a
Flames.
pleasant smile to like
On the side of my
this.
face.
She's gone from a pleasant smile to like, this is the smile of someone who's going to murder you all.
Oh no. Whatever will we do?
Her hand kind of like inches towards her shotgun, but she pulls it back. She's like, no, this is fine.
She must really need us.
I think more than anything else, she's probably just determined to show that she's the bigger person when it comes to Bambi. So she can't lose her cool, because then she loses points.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Love that.
However, she does rustle around under the bar top for like rags or something that she can use to try and clean her face with. And upon not finding anything useful, she undoes the robe that she has and like rips a strip of fabric off of her dress to use as a cloth, and just kind of fixes this pleasant expression on her face. You can clearly see it in her eyes that she does not mean any of it, but she's trying to keep that very precise cool as she does this, and just kind of like very violently ties her robe back up again. Her face says, "It's fine." Her actions say, "I'm going to murder."
There will be blood.
Ooh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so she has this little strip of fabric that she's ripped off of her dress, and she folds it up into a square, grabs a bottle of alcohol and pours it onto the rag, and just like tries to scrub the permanent marker off of her face.
Poor Vixen. I feel so terrible.
Oh, I love it.
Baby's just watching, amused, and having a good time.
So, yeah, Pepper still got that nervous, like, am I going to get hit kind of look.
From what you can tell, her attention, for some reason I could not remember that word, her attention is not focused on you anymore. You seem to be off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
For now, at least. So it takes Vixen a little while to scrub off whatever little bit of marker that she's able to get off with the alcohol. You can still see faint traces of those colors everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Permanent
so
marker
she's
sitting on bare skin for 2 hours, that's gonna be
Yeah.
on there for a few days.
Mhm.
I don't know
So-
what permanent markers you're using. Nothing ever
Alcohol-
lasts for me.
I think alcohol does like a decent job of getting some of that pigment out. So
That's
it's not as bright and in your face as it was, but you can still clearly see the remnants of where she had been written on. She tries her damnedest to ignore the fact that it's there. But eventually she does stop scrubbing. And you hear like a little grunt of anger coming from her as she like slaps the rag down on the bar top and turns to face you all again. Just her hands on her hips. And then she just kind of looks from one person to the next and she's like, all right, what do you want?
Well, do you still want to leave with clearly Pepper's like completely lost whatever nerve she has. She's still like kind of fidgety and yeah.
Yeah, I would say seeing you kind of fidget around and lose some of that nerve, Anastasia will probably step in your place so that you don't have to really speak much.
Okay.
And she looks at Vixen and she says, we're trying to come up with a way to get out of here and leave this place behind. And we were looking for someone who might be able to help us plan something like that. And Vixen kind of listens for a moment and nods her head. And just kind of continues to look between you all and pipes back with, well, you know, what would have brought you to believe that I would be the one to help you do something like that? Like, you must know that Penelope has eyes everywhere, right?
Because if we don't do something together, then we're gonna die.
Ah, I see. So the way you ask people to help you when you have no other option is to draw on their face with permanent marker. Is that so?
Yes?
It's not clearly, like, she's not saying that you drew on her face with permanent marker. She's just like, it seems fitting that like a group that would come to ask for help would do that.
Yeah, it's just like, yes?
Vixen narrows her eyes very slightly, but it's still noticeable as she looks at you.
Bambi's just like, I mean, did it hurt?
What do you mean when I fell from heaven?
Oh, we all know that you clawed your way up from hell. No, I mean the Sharpie. Does the Sharpie hurt you?
It doesn't matter if it hurt or not. It's the matter of principle. You don't come asking for somebody's help and then deface them.
I mean,
But you still have a face.
I would never do such a thing like that. And we all know that Bambi would, 100%.
Yeah.
Would totally do something like that. She's done that to Vixen posters. But she wouldn't dare do it to Vixen herself. She's got way too much something. I don't know. But Bambi's like, Well, I can't control the actions of everybody else here. I can simply vouch for it. And I mean, you don't have to give us your help, but maybe you want to get the fuck out of here too. And clearly, you've allowed us into your safe place for a reason. What is that reason? What can we give you? Not like you haven't taken everything else. She has to throw the jab in right at the end.
Nick clears his throat and sort of interrupts at that point. Just says, yes, festive face markings aside, it would seem we have a common enemy and should work together. I'm sorry, I'm still playing catch up, but that seems to be the case, yes?
Well, I suppose in a case like this, it seems that you must need me more than I need you. As you can see, I've been doing just fine holed up in here by myself.
But how long? How long until you starve? Or that door won't protect you anymore? Or somebody else stabs you in the back? That if the worst that we've done while you were sleeping was to draw on your face, then I'd say that we're pretty good.
Meanwhile,
So
Nick's
then in
looking
that-
around the room going like, much muttering like, I suppose you could call this surviving.
She ignores that mumbling coming from you, and she says, well, then you must have some semblance of a plan in place. I don't know about you, but regardless of the fact that there's not much here, I would rather stay holed up here and live out the rest of my days than throw myself into a half-assed plan and get myself killed twice as fast.
But she wants to drown us all. She wants to destroy Exodus and take us all with her. That's not... If we have a chance, then why not?
The way I see it now, my chances are better living out the days that I have left. Unless you can convince me otherwise, which I'm sure you must have some idea of what you're looking for. Right?
We were looking for, well, you.
I suddenly cannot remember the details of our plan.
What
I don't
plan?
either.
What fucking plan?
I know. Well, I know what Bambi wants to do. Bambi wants to dismantle Penelope. She wants to drag her down. She actually might hate Penelope more than she hates Vixen. But
Which is funny because Penelope has done nothing to Bambi.
I know.
Well, except
Vixen
now
has-
she has.
Vixen has done far more to you than Penelope has.
I know, but Penelope called her out in front of the
whole city.
rest of the populace of Exodus.
I feel like Klaus has like, or Niklaus rather, has a crumpled up piece of paper in a pocket somewhere that's just drawn in crayon. It's like master plan to take over Exodus. Step 1, kill British bitch. Step 2, take her place. Step 3, domination.
I still don't know what exactly it is that Klaus wants to take over. Most of the inhabitants here are insane. They're genetically modified to go insane.
I think Klaus loves chaos, and this whole place is just like chaos incarnate. So I think Klaus's master plan is literally to just become king of the city.
I mean, that being said, if you do manage to find a way out of here, and you are the king of Exodus, then you could always come and go as you please. It would be a lovely summer home.
Yeah. I mean, Klaus also has to get Nick on board with this plan to fully enact it, so we'll see, but...
Yeah. We can kind of pump Vixen for information. Was the idea that Anastasia had. So initially she said that there are still a few people scattered throughout the city that have, if not all, then a good portion of their sanity left. And she's made it very clear that she will not ask John Castillo for help. You don't know for certain. You've not seen this man yet. You don't know for sure that he's alive, but you do know that his lackeys are alive. So
Right.
they offer you an avenue if you wanted to go that way. You could find them. Right now, we can just kind of see what Vixen knows, or if she can point you in the direction of somebody else who might be able to offer you any help with your plan or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that was Anastasia's reason for pushing to come here, because she knew that at least Vixen was here, so you could use her as like a jumping off point.
Oh,
we
Bambi's
certainly
not
jumped off
smart enough
something.
to ask these questions. Bambi is not smart enough.
Neither is ever anyone else.
Nick's trying to catch up. He might get there.
Bambi's
Alright,
got a
so-
burning question.
Sure.
She's going to be she looks almost like she's nervous to ask this, but when the party lapses into silence because nobody can think fast enough to figure out what they want to say, she pipes up and she's like, how did you do it? How did you sweep my kingdom away from me?
Do you want the quick, easy answer?
What's the alternative?
I could go into excruciating detail.
Please don't. Quick and easy.
Do you have flowcharts? Because that might make it a little bit easier.
The way she says that just makes Bambi's skin crawl.
Yeah.
Well, sweetheart, it was my charm and good personality and my stunning good looks. What else can I tell you?
Who did you sleep with?
Absolutely no one.
Her jaw is just like, what? No, there is no way.
You know, Bambi, sometimes you can get what you want with a little more mystery.
Bambi's like, I don't get it. She grumps a little bit and she says, well, what do you have to tell us about Penelope then? Since your answer isn't satisfying enough in a different way.
Well, aren't you going to say please?
Please.
No, see, that sounds so insincere, sweetheart. I want you to sound like you really mean it.
Bambi, that calmness that she's had just breaks. It's all red in the face again, like pouty expression of like, I'm not gonna do it, and just like folds her arms and bites down on her lips just to keep herself from saying something awful.
Can Nick jump in there?
Sure.
So I think Nick will just put himself between Vixen and Bambi, and just sort of putting on the charm and everything as much as he can. Just like, I'm terribly sorry. Of course, we would be most appreciative if you could offer any assistance that you have to
Please?
to help us take down this mutual threat to both of us. And yes, please.
Vixen kind of gives you the same treatment as she gave to Sid. to a degree, like with Sid coming in and her like saying what she did about recognizing eyes and stuff, the way she like held Sid's chin to look into her face, she kind of gives you the same treatment where she like gives you like a little tap under the chin instead, and puts this smile on her face, and she just says, "Oh, sweetheart, how lovely of you. That was quite excellent. But in fact, I'm going to need that request to come from Bambi."
Nick's definitely a little off balance from that reaction from Vixen and doesn't quite know how to take that. And takes a step back.
Bambi, like, through gritted teeth, like it literally hurts her to do so. She might vomit after the fact, says, "Please, can you help us?"
Vixen is very quiet for a moment as she deliberates whether that was acceptable or not. And then she just starts to laugh. And she laughs for maybe 10, 15 seconds. And then she turns her smile back to Bambi and she says, "Now see, was that so hard?"
Bambi's expression says it all. Yes, it really was that hard.
You know, Bambi, you'll catch a lot more flies with honey than you will with vinegar. And judging by the look of you, you've had a lot of vinegar lately. You should try switching that up a little.
Oh, just alcohol.
Bambi wants to go for her so bad.
Yeah, so Vixen will, seeing that she's garnered the appropriate response from Bambi, will step back behind the bar where she is within reach of her shotgun, and sit down again. She looks like this motion is disarming. Like she's not so standoffish anymore. Yeah, like she's open to hearing you guys ask questions and say what you need to say now. Now that she's heard Bambi say please.
Bambi's just pouting. She cannot answer her questions. She is all the pout.
All right, sweethearts, pull up some chairs. Let's get this party started, shall we?
Bambi's sitting. She doesn't move.
Pepper looks around, like, because directly in front there's the stools, and then she realizes there's all those stage chairs, and she just goes, whoop! And she's
Yeah,
just
so-
like lower than the bar. You can only see the top of her head.
Everything is pushed to the sides. So if you want to grab a taller chair from like the sides of the room, which are kind of pushed together with tables and stuff like that, you can also pick one of those.
I just imagine her sitting in this chair and like just the top of her head being seen over the counter.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Nick just looks at this whole exchange and says, right. A conversation like this, I feel, needs proper lubrication. And he goes looking behind the bar for some champagne or at least a bottle of wine or something.
Don't you still
Along
have a
those
bottle
lines.
of whiskey?
Oh, it's somewhere.
Just stop and draw.
Yeah. But he's specifically looking for something, like classy, like a champagne or a nice wine or something like that.
Sid is like, just all of a sudden, this kind of like pops up like right by him and like announces her presence by saying, "You've been drinking a lot today."
Nick just raises an eyebrow at Sid and just like, and?
Sid just shrugs and just leans back against the cabinets.
Did Sid ever offer any information about her little experiment with the blood?
Not yet. She's kind of waiting to see if anybody's going to offer her up any information first.
I think after a moment, Nick will look over at Sid and also be like, what just happened over the last several hours, I'm assuming?
Well, your friend came and drew on her face.
Just the tiniest little tug up at the corner of Nick's mouth. He quickly puts a hand over it. Ah, I see.
Yes.
Now, you guys are by the bar, right? Where Vixen is? Do you say that loud enough for her to hear?
How close are we?
Well, I'd say the bar itself is probably, I'd say, like 8 to 10 feet long on that side. And Vixen is sitting closer to the corner. So like at the very bottom of the bar.
Yeah, so Sid tends to be more quiet anyway, so I don't think, unless Vixen was close enough to hear just Sid's normal low talking voice.
Yeah, I'd say she's probably not paying super close to attention. So, no, we'll say she doesn't catch that one.
Okay.
How long have you been using Kane?
Well, you recall that shipment I had sent over from, what was the guy's name again? That
Theo.
the contact.
Was it Julian?
Yeah, it was Julian.
Oh.
You recall that shipment I had sent up from Julian, yes? I had you go retrieve it.
I've retrieved a lot of shipments.
Right, well, right.
I have an approximate knowledge of
Regardless.
many things.
Regardless, it contained a substance that, well, the plan was to remove the side effects from it and start our own production. However, it would seem the initial test that appeared as if I had succeeded at removing those side effects was incorrect. And our friend, as you put it, was the result.
You know, if you keep using it, you might end up like one of those animals that Pepper eats.
Oh, I have no intention of injecting myself with further substances that we find here.
That's the one who just swallowed a whole bottle of icy freeze.
He thought it was alcohol.
Sid just raises an eyebrow and doesn't say anything else.
Okay. And I don't think Nick remembers seeing Sid do the flamethrower thing, so he won't comment on that.
Asking Bambi if she wanted the pieces of her friend
Yeah.
unfrozen.
Not creepy at all.
All right. So
Is
do you
Nick able
guys?
to find champagne or wine or anything?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably a couple of nothing like full. They're probably missing some of their contents, but yeah, then there's probably wine or something like that behind the counter.
All right, he'll grab the best stuff he can find and pour everybody a glass, except for Sid, who gets like a shot glass of it.
We may be in this strange place where the rules don't exist, but this rule still does. Only a small bit for you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do the rest of you come and sit down? Bambi, do you come
Yes.
sit down?
Bambi will come and sit down.
Okay. Anastasia makes her way over once she sees that everybody is behaving. I just picture Anastasia being like the kindergarten teacher that has to keep her eyes on so many problem kids.
Oh yeah.
But eventually she also comes over and sits down. So yeah, Vixen looks from each person to the next and kind of leans forward like she's ready to bestow upon you, or in return hear secrets. Very like conspiracy huddle. But she looks in better spirits than she did. You can still see some of the remnants of the colors on her face as she does so. She's leaning in very close. And she says, "All right, so let's hear, well, if not a plan, then the lack of." And just kind of like folds her hands in front of her and waits. And I know it's a little bit early, but I think I might call it there with her like expectantly waiting for your thoughts, because I do want to give you guys some time, because I know the plan up until now has just been get to point B, and now we're at point B, and we're gonna have to come up with the next step of the plan past get there. So let's take a short little cap here, and we can kind of decide where we want to go from here, and what kind of things we want to explore going forward. But yeah,
Cool.
Oh, that
sound
was,
good to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good
ma'am.
stopping point, and that's fantastic. I like that. We're gonna go on a raid here in just a minute, so if you have an idea for a raid cry, feel free to throw that into chat. Before we do, we're gonna let everybody say what their favorite part was, where we can find everybody, and anything they'd like to share, anything like that. And then we're gonna go raid another member of the Fantasy Network team here on Twitch, Zombie Orpheus. They're doing Void Jumpers, which I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot of it, but I've seen a little bit, and it looks really, really cool. So definitely give them a follow, and everybody else on the team, if you haven't already. But yeah, let's start with V. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you next? And anything else you'd like to share?
In terms of favorite parts, I like spending my time figuring out how Vixen can best fuck with Bambi at any given time.
Very well, every single time.
Sometimes I pull my punches a little bit because I don't want to be too mean to Bambi too quickly. I feel we need to build up that relationship a bit more. So that's always that's always fun. But I'm interested to see if they can work together with whatever plan they come up with. Despite the fact that Bambi is bubbling so full of rage that she sometimes goes blind.
Ain't that the honest truth?
a new meaning to blind with rage. I did also really enjoy the little scene with Pepper and Bambi, where they kind of bonded a little bit more and got to do a little bit of a dance and stuff like that. Also, just Sid popping up every now and then. When she's got this personality where she's so quiet that people just kind of forget that she's lurking around. So anytime she pops out of nowhere, it just makes me laugh. I really enjoy it. And of course, we always love to have Riley come back and play Sid for a little while.
Hell yeah.
And like I said last time, Riley, you're always more than welcome to come back. I will ask you every single week if you feel up to playing Sid, because I'm bothersome like that, and I will bug you. But you can always feel free to come back and play with us. We're always really excited to have you. So yeah, those were my favorite parts. As for where you can find me next, I will be here tomorrow evening, same time for Star Wars, where I play Anaka Ta. Yeah. She's really fun as well. She is a dark side user, dark force user, who is traveling with a group of Mandalorians. So that's pretty fun. Other than that, you can find me online on Twitter. I do have an art Twitter if you'd like to check out my stuff. It's at Pepero Draws, and that's Pepero like the candy. And I do have a couple of anime pieces that I just posted. If you are a fan of My Hero Academia, there's some of that up there. I'm also working on a Jujutsu Kaisen piece, so that should be up there fairly soon-ish, as well as some OC art from our Saturday game. I'm working on a character for Raven to use as an NPC, and hopefully maybe I'll get to play him in the future, who knows? But he's up there too, so if you'd like to check out my stuff, certainly feel free to do so. That's me.
Awesome. Next we've got Yaz. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? And anything else you'd like to share?
My favorite part was Pepper and Bambi bonding. And kind of getting to show, like, to help Pepper loosen up a little bit. I think it was really fun. I also enjoyed Klaus drawing on Vixen's face.
So great.
And of course, I always love having Riley here, and Riley's experiments. I'm really interested to see where Sid's experiments go, and kind of like, I like the added science vibe. You can find me next here on Friday, DMing Beyond the Wall, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it's sure to be an emotional wreck. So we'll see how it goes. It's getting darker and darker as we get to towards the end. And I'm excited about it. And then of course you can find me next week here, and I occasionally stream on my own profile, Bodelia. However, this week I'm trying to finish a comic book for a deadline, so maybe not this week, but next. I'll put my shop again in the links there, or in the chat there, if you're interested in anything that I do. Yeah.
Why you gotta drop this? It's gonna be an emotional wreck stuff. You know, I now I have to wait till Friday to figure out what that means.
Cause you're sitting there. Of course I have to drop that.
I also play in that game.
Just you wait.
Oh goodness. That's gonna be good though. Rowan, what was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything else you'd like to share?
I cut me mid-stretch. Ah! Okay, hello. Let's see. I mean, it was a lot of really good stuff. I like finally that the stuff with Sid collecting the blood has been a build-up since like episode fucking 2. I don't know. Yeah. So it's good to actually have, like, I guess the continuation of that. Like, there was a reason for it, and the conversation finally happened. So that was pretty cool to see that through line, that this was the plan all along type. Yeah, of course, like, learning a bit more about Pepper, getting her awkward ass out of her shell a little. That was good. Yeah, it was just enjoyable overall. So, where you can find me next is Saturday. I'm hoping come hell or high water that we finally have Time Travelers again, but so that's Saturday at noon Mountain Time. Aside from that, you can find my stuff at ronorthillustrations.org, and that includes homemade paper soon and my homemade paints. So yeah.
Awesome. Riley, what was your favorite part? Where can folks find you, and anything else you'd like to share?
My favorite part, I really enjoyed Bambi and Pepper like bonding. That was pretty cool. But I really liked being able to step into Sid again and like just all the things she's thinking about, and like her new like relationship with Niklaus, and like how that's going to work out now that there's a more present Klaus. So that was pretty cool. You can find me everywhere online at Arieli Knits. If you want to learn how to spin your own yarn, I recently just put up an entire free online course on my YouTube. And you can find a link to that on my website, which I'll put in the chat.
Awesome. And then that just leaves me, my favorite part. I did have quite a few highlights that I really enjoyed. I also really enjoyed the Bambi Pepper scene. That was really cute. I also liked, because I've been playing Klaus a lot lately, because just in large part because of how the dice rolls have been going for Niklaus's resistance, but also because Klaus is better in combat situations, which we've had a few of. So it was nice to get back into to Nick again, and just his smarmy, arrogant self. He's fun to play. And I also enjoyed the interaction between Sid and Niklaus, and how it's definitely a bit different. And I actually really liked that. The whole thing was good. I'm excited to see where we go from here. And of course, getting to decorate Vixen as like the biggest Bambi fan was just great. Loved that. Where you can find me next, I'll be GMing Elite Bebeskar tomorrow, which is our Star Wars game, and that just is Mandola for Clan of Steel. Yeah, it's gonna be something. I think we're heading back to the bunker with the Dark Troopers, which are like really big super droid stormtroopers. They're very scary.
Yes, we are, and I'm terrified, but also very excited.
Yeah. There's been a lot of Destiny points used to keep people from dying, and those are running out, so it's gonna be a really fun time. So that's Thursday, and then Friday at noon Mountain Time, I will be playing Mare, who's sort of antisocial goth kind of superhero character in Beyond the Wall, and apparently it's gonna be an emotional wreck. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, that's where you can find me next in the immediate future. Other things to share are I'll throw my link tree into chat there, so you can find all my stuff there. And then sponsors are Fundamental RPG, which second edition for that just dropped a couple days ago. You can find it at coffee.com/raven/shop, or the link to go directly to it is right there in chat. It turned out really, really good. It's a really fun system. We've been using it for Animus as well as Water, and last season we used it for Hunters of Calamity 2. All of that while it was in the playtest stage. But now it is officially released. So if you enjoy those shows, if you think that system looks fun, or if you're brand new to all of this and you just want a game system that lets you tell whatever story you want without having to make the game work for you, it's a really good one. I highly recommend picking it up. I'm also doing a giveaway for a copy on Twitter and Instagram, so you can head over to @TheRaven, like it says under my little window here for the Twitter one, or The Raven Evermore, which with that one it's RAVYN, The Raven Evermore on Instagram, and there's an Instagram giveaway as well. So feel free to enter one or both of those, and it's going to be pretty cool. And then Intrepid is the other sponsor. That is adventuring gear for IRL. So if you like athletic, casual, or outdoors wear, and you would like to have something with a really cool adventure or tabletop theme to it in that category, definitely check that out. You can find it also at ko-fi.com/raven/shop. Like it says at the bottom of the screen, just add /shop to the end of it. And I think that's everything. So our raid cry is "Who wrote I Heart Darling on my face?" You can copy that right out of chat, and we're going to go raid Zombie Orpheus, again, another member of the Fantasy Network streaming team. Definitely give them a follow if you're not doing so already, and anybody else on the team. They're all really good. Speaking of which, if you'd like to catch previous episodes of this show or others on the channel, currently you can find all those at YouTube if you search for Blackfeather Guild, and then in the very near future, all of that will be moving over to the Fantasy Network. So you'll be able to find that at watch.thefantasy.network/videos. And I think that's everything. So I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.